Okay, folks, you want to hear about how to sell tickets? Charlie Toke had a great line. He said, our next brown bag should be about how to get people to come to a brown bag. So I think some of you were here last month when I gave a short presentation about the efforts of the marketing committee and our desire to help everybody in their efforts to sell tickets. If you weren't here, I'll just mention that I talked about inviting groups of chorus members to brainstorm with us about their experiences, positive and negative, with selling tickets. So last week, 3 members of the marketing committee met with 8 chorus members, and part of the presentation tonight is a report on the results of that meeting. First of all, many thanks to those who participated, not only people who attended, but also those who filled out my questionnaire even if they couldn't attend. We learned a lot. First and foremost, we learned that the very best salespeople convey a wonderful sense of enthusiasm about the chorus, about the particular concert they're describing. I can't stress this enough. They don't sell their tickets and say, okay, phew, 6, I'm done. Their attitude is, this group is amazing and this concert is going to be so great that I want everyone I know to be there. What do they do next? And how do they do it? They have substantial lists of contacts to whom they send personal emails about the concert, sometimes 5 or 6 weeks in advance, with a follow-up reminder 2 weeks just before the concert. They attach the PDF of our flyers. They include links to YouTube videos of the music we're playing if they're available. They include links to Kent's videos about the music we're performing, and information about the music, especially when the works aren't familiar. They say things like, I just walked out of a rehearsal and you won't believe how spectacular this concert's going to be. They sell the product with a sense of pride and with no qualms about what some might consider to be bothering people or being pushy. What are their lists like? Everywhere from 20 to 50 to over 100 names of family, friends, acquaintances, work contacts, the dry cleaner, the super, the guy at the hardware store, everyone they can think of. And they tailor their emails to the folks receiving them, realizing that different things are going to appeal to different people. And let me just say here, realistically, if they know that someone isn't going to like a particular piece, they don't invite them to that concert. Credibility is important. If they're active or learning to be active with social media, they post to Facebook, for example, and follow up on likes with personal emails or phone calls. Some people make a social occasion out of the event, suggesting getting a bite to eat together before the concert or a drink afterwards. By the way, with this in mind, we're putting together a list of local places where people might think about doing this. And if you have any ideas about that, we'd love to know them. They make creative suggestions like tickets to the May concert might make a great Mother's Day gift, or so-and-so's graduating, why not give him tickets to his first concert at Carnegie Hall, things like that. A lot of the big ticket sellers are people who have lived and worked here for a long time. They tend to have more contacts, hence bigger lists, than folks who are younger, who've just moved here, who are still in school, or just beginning their working lives. They also know more people who are able and willing to spend the money on tickets. So here we are at some of the challenges people reported that they face in selling tickets. In addition to the problem of fewer contacts in general, they think they might be imposing on their friends and acquaintances by asking them to buy tickets. Their friends might not be into classical music or able to afford tickets. They don't have the money to buy reasonably priced tickets themselves and then give them to their friends or sell them to their friends. They need more information about the music we're performing, and we're trying to do a better job of that. I posted some material recently on Haydn and Merriman, and we're hoping to do more of that in the future and sooner. So we're working on solutions to these problems and hope that in some cases the successful strategies that I talked about first, that our major salespeople are employing, are going to be helpful to everyone else. And by the way, all of this will be posted for you and for those who couldn't attend tonight. So I think the things we learned from the big sellers that will be immediately helpful to everyone are these big two. Approach your ticket selling with a positive attitude and with enthusiasm. And second, use email to advantage. Now, just in case you don't feel that you're a natural salesperson with email or otherwise, or in case you're worried about the complications of getting your ticket sales credited to your ticket quota, help is at hand. I am delighted to introduce our very hardworking head of the marketing committee, Steve Gardner, who has some good news for you on that front.
Good news indeed. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Steve Gardner. I'm on the board, and by way of introduction, the first thing you all need to know is that I cannot sing a note. Nothing. The reason I'm involved in the Oratorio Society, my connection is through my wife, Betsy Means, who sang with the Oratorio Society for many years. And I suspect that some of the people in this room were there who kindly volunteered to come and sing at her memorial service. And I will forever be grateful to those of you who showed that kindness and that extraordinary performance. But what that makes me is an Oratorio Society spouse. Now, being an Oratorio Society spouse means a number of things. Probably the first is that it means I had pizza every Thursday night for about 20 years. Okay, and that was, but I actually did, I probably have been to, I don't know, I went 40, 50 of your concerts over the course of that time. And I realized in talking to you tonight that I actually do have one thing that is different from all of you, which is that I was in the audience. You know, you guys were all up on stage. I was in the audience. So I got to hear these amazing performances. So what Lesleigh just said, which is that, you know, these are extraordinary, amazing performances. And as we think about selling the tickets, you know, being extraordinarily proud and advocating for the idea that, you know, I think everybody in New York City, as a bucket list item, had better have gone to Carnegie Hall and heard one of these concerts. And I think that taking the attitude that, you're kind of doing your friends a favor by letting them know this thing is coming up. And I think that was kind of the spirit that we were hearing from a lot of the people who are very successful at selling tickets. Now, one of the things that Lesleigh said that I think is tremendously important in all of this is the idea that, the people, we know, it's clear, the people who sell the 6 tickets, who meet the minimum, that's great. You're doing what we asked you to do, and that's terrific. But there's a kind of sense that it's like, call somebody, call a friend, and once I get my 6 tickets done, I'm done. Okay? The people who are very, very successful at selling tickets have a different attitude. They don't do it one at a time and stop when they're at 6. They cast a very wide net from the beginning. The first thing that they want to do is take out their email and send it to 80 friends and find out who's interested. So they can often end up with far more than 6 just from letting everybody, all their friends, know about it. I think that this idea of using email to get the word out to your friends is actually the secret thing we learned in this conversation that we had. It's a secret weapon. You go through your list of contacts and you just put together a list of people who you think might be interested. Don't generally keep people on the list rather than taking them out, because you don't know. And the idea of writing an email, if I could write the perfect marketing plan for the Oratorio Society, it would be this. Everybody in the Oratorio Society would write a personal note to 20 of their friends and say, you should really come and see this concert. It's really going to be fantastic. That would be better than anything that we can do on QXR, anything that we can do anywhere else. It's your personal appeal to your friends of saying, save this date. Maybe this is a good night, to have a Mother's Day present. Maybe this is a great idea for a graduation present. Maybe this is a great date night idea. But people sending notes to their friends is by far and away the best thing. Now, having said that, we're kind of realistic, and we realize that not everybody is going to do that or has any time to do that or wants to write the note. So our fallback position is, please let us do it for you. Okay? Please let us do it for you. There's one message that we have here tonight. It is, if you would be interested in this, we would love to have you send us email addresses of your friends. And what we are going to do is generate emails to those people. Now, I know the issues. I know that people say, well, if they get an email from the Oratorio Society, then it doesn't get credited to me for my 6 tickets. Well, the good news is we have solved that. Okay? Tim Dwight, who does so much for this organization, it's amazing. Tim figured out this really, really clever way that if you give us the email addresses that you would like your friends to get, they're going to get an email that says, from Lesleigh Forsyth invites you to the Nelson Mass. That's going to be in the subject line. So they will get an email that clearly says it is from you, so they know it's from a friend. And then there will be the text of the email talking about, here's the concert, the nice things about it. And then at the bottom, where it says order tickets, it's not going to say go to Carnegie Hall. It's going to be a live button that activates an email right back to you so that your friend knows to call you to get the ticket. Okay? So it's a very interesting system that enables you to get emails, as many emails as you want to send. All we need is the email addresses, and we will generate the emails, and the responses will come back to you. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. Everybody following that? Okay. So we obviously, we're gearing up everything for the Nelson Mass in Jonah. And that means we're going to start sending out email blasts, ideally as early as next week. And so Tim is going to send an email out to the chorus. And it's going to be just like an Excel spreadsheet that says, here's the name of my friend, last name, first name, and then here's their email address. And please just take a few minutes and, whether it's copy and paste or type them in or whatever it is. But I want you to think about one thing, which is there's 200 people in this chorus. And if all of you had 30 friends, well, that's like 6,000 email addresses, okay? And it's pretty easy to do the math and say that all you have to do is get like a 3%, 4% response rate on that, and you fill Carnegie Hall every single time. So, this is a really interesting new way of doing this. Our committee is trying to think of new and different ways to make sure that by the time you put in all this work and work so hard to prepare, and by the time you get up on that stage, every seat in Carnegie Hall should be filled. And that's what we're trying to do, and we're going to need your help. So, first order of business, if you think about this, we'll follow up with an email explaining how it works, but the first thing is email addresses. And does everybody think there's a good idea? Yes. Julie.
I think it's a great idea. How does it relate to the list that we have had?
Right.
I know that I have routinely sent the email addresses of people who
Can you
are
repeat
interested.
the question louder, please?
Yeah, the
I
question.
have been sending email addresses of people who are interested in getting the notice, and I know that they get something that says Julia Turner invites you to.
Right.
So
They still will.
what will happen to that?
They still will get, they will get this. Yes, it's the same thing, it's the same list that we have. We're just adding to it. And the newest feature is the button that will send an email back to you rather than it's going nowhere.
Yes, and our what we had gathered is that people had been hesitant to send email addresses because they wouldn't get credited to the tickets. What's new here is you're going to get credited for the tickets against your 6. So open the floodgates, send us everything, because you will get credit. Yeah.
Can you promise us that emails won't go to anybody else? That's something people would not like.
Would you repeat the question louder, please?
Can you all guarantee that the emails won't be given out to another list of some sort?
Oh, yeah.
We promise we never have and we never will.
Yes. Yeah, and I should say that there'll be a little line, one of those little polite lines that says, you have received this email because Leslie Forsyth gave us your name. If you don't want to get it, unsubscribe here. There'll be all that kind of stuff. Julia.
The other interesting thing that a lot of people whose names I put on this
Right.
know is that it's better to order the tickets through me because Elton's got all the best tickets.
Right.
I don't know if there's a way to say to get the best tickets, don't go to Julia or go to
Yeah.
to make the point that the best tickets are to be had by ordering the sports. Now, Carnegie Hall might get mad, so maybe that's when I'm starting.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, let me look into that one, because I think that's an interesting point. But hypothetically, while we have to have our email blast approved by Carnegie Hall, if you send an email to your friends, we don't have to. So that's the advantage of writing individual emails. Okay? Now, I'm sorry. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. We're trying to do a lot in the marketing committee. I know Joe Gaultier has been doing a great deal on social media, and that's been really terrific. Lesleigh has been trying to reach out to the chorus and so that we can learn more about things that you think are effective from a marketing standpoint. So please, if you have ideas or thoughts, let Lesleigh know. Tim Dwight has been doing all the stuff on the electronic media and making it effective, and please thank him tonight because he's working like crazy on that. Liz has been doing all the stuff on our database. Rebecca has been doing all of our design work, and we thank her for that. But I will say that we're still very open to volunteers. So particularly if people have experience, if you work in a marketing communications department, if you've had experience in that, a media department at an advertising agency, let us know, because the more hands, the more work we can do. I see that it's almost 7, and I know the one thing I can't do is go over. Are there any questions, any comments?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.